Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Welch on Ice. In this episode, we are going to be doing something a little bit similar to what we have done in the past. I created a 99 overall goalie. And so last time we saw this with a defenseman with Reginald Foster. And yes, I got his name right this time, Reginald Foster. This time, however, we made a new player, a goalie, and his name is Tyson Duke. And so we're going to see how many Vezina trophies can he get, how many cups can he get. One thing that kind of bit us in the butt in the last video with Foster was the fact that he was put onto a not so great team. This time what I've done is I've put Tyson Duke on the San Jose Sharks. So hopefully with Macklin Celebrini, Eklund, Will Smith, we can hopefully get a good squad in front of him. And so yeah, we're going to see how this career goes. Before we jump into the video though, as always, I just want to take this time to say thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel so that way you can stay up to date on everything that's happening here. It's totally free, no costs whatsoever, so why not do it? And yeah, share it with a friend as well while you're at it. So let's see what Tyson Duke can do in the NHL. Okay, so like I said, he is on the San Jose Sharks. I have chosen the Seattle Kraken just because alphabetically, that means I don't have to jump around as much for seeing what he does. And I've chosen the Seattle Kraken as well just because since I'm doing this through franchise mode, I don't want to have to dictate what Tyson Duke's contract is like, whether we keep him, whether we sell him. And so I'm totally leaving that up to the computer. So that's why I have picked the Seattle Kraken. So an issue that we ran into last time was that Foster didn't actually end up signing with Edmonton. So I'm very curious to see whether or not Duke is going to sign with the Sharks. We're going to have to sim ahead to the regular season and find out. So this is what the lines are looking like for the San Jose Sharks. They got Eklund, Celebrini, Toffoli, Will Smith's on the second line. Jeff Skinner's on their team as well. As far as defense goes, they signed Orlov and Ferraro. Leddy's on the team now. Liljegren's still there. So it's honestly a squad that could have a lot of depth to it. But let's see. Did they sign Duke? They did. So we are, in fact, going to be playing on the San Jose Sharks. He's a 99 overall, 99 in every single aspect whatsoever. I put him at a franchise high potential as well. So there's going to be no backing down for Duke. He's only on a 1-year deal, however. Very team-friendly deal of 0.915, but he's only on a 1-year deal. We'll see if he sticks with the Sharks after this year. Let's see what he can make of this year first of all. But yeah, the X factors that I assigned to him, I chose dialed in, so that way we're expecting him to make a lot of saves. So we really want dialed in to be on his side, so that way when he makes multiple saves in a row, it boosts his accuracy and reaction time. He's a 99, so I don't know how much it'll boost it to, but anyways, post to post as well, just that way he can get across the crease quickly, and then also sponge. We don't want to be giving out any rebounds. So let's see what happens in this first year of Duke's career. So the first season of Duke's career is over. Let's take a peek at how he did this season. He played 67 games, had 36 wins, 24 losses, and 5 overtime losses. 67 games is actually crazy for a goalie. That's a quality starter role. We're not really sharing the load with Askarov all that much. Save percentage, he had a 918. Goals against average, maybe a little bit high at 2.69. He saw 2,069 shots and had 1,900 saves, so let in 169 goals. Pretty solid actually for his first year. Celebrini had 78 points, then Toffoli and Eklund both had 76. Will Smith down here with 57. And so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we do in comparison to the rest of the league. So William Nylander gets 100 points for the first time in his career, I believe, and he's your Art Ross winner this year. Let's see who got the Rocket. McKinnon with 54 goals gets the Rocket. If we go down to goalies, Hellebuck had the most amount of wins. He had 45 wins. Remember, we only had 36. Save percentage, let's see who's Askarov has the best save percentage in the league, which is actually pretty surprising. Duke is here as well in the top 10. Goals against average, though, I've got a feeling that we didn't do too hot. Okay, actually that's not too bad. If I sort this to minimum 30 games played, we've got the 5th best save percentage, or goals against average, sorry. As far as save percentage goes, we have the 4th best save percentage. I'm curious to see how much the wins play into who gets the Vezina and whatnot. So it looks like Stolarz is going to be getting the Jennings Award, which is the award for most goals or fewest goals against in minimum 25 games played. The San Jose Sharks did in fact make the playoffs, and they're facing off against the Anaheim Ducks, who I think were first in the division, if I do remember correctly. Yes, they were. And were they the President's Trophy winners this year? Oh no, okay, so they may have been the first in our division, but they were 4th overall. The New Jersey Devils are the President's Trophy winners. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what this playoff year shakes up. Hopefully we can, make a good cup run right away. We'll see. So the playoffs have come and gone, and the first year is in the books. The Toronto Maple Leafs are the Stanley Cup champions. Let's hope that actually plays out in real life too. I'm not a biased Leafs fan. What are you talking about? Okay, let's take a look at the stats and see what happened throughout the playoffs. So San Jose lost in Game 7 in the first round to Anaheim, who then lost to the Oilers in 7, who lost to Winnipeg, who then lost to the Leafs in Game 7. We had an all-Canadian final, Winnipeg versus the Leafs. That I feel like that would actually be really entertaining. Those are two teams that whenever they play, they tend to not like each other. There's nothing better than beating the Leafs, right, Jets fans? Right?
Is there anything better than beating the Leafs? Hey? Anything better? This goes to this guy.
Nylander led the league in points, so he's most likely going to be the Conn Smythe recipient. Let's jump on over down and see how Duke did. So he played 7 games, had 3 wins, 3 losses, and 1 overtime loss. No shutouts. Save percentage of .927, which is pretty good. Goals against average .244, also pretty good. So I bet you if we were to go, let's say minimum 5 games played. Yeah, we were second in minimum 5 games played. And then for goals against average, we were 3rd. So, I mean, I know Hellebuck and Ottinger, they played a few more games, so that's more impressive for them. But hey, here we are. That's what it's looking like. And if we look at the awards for this year, Nylander gets the Art Ross, McDavid with the Hart. The Norris goes to Morgan Riley. What? Sorry, I'm just taken aback right now at how this is a possibility given the way that he's played this year. No offense, Morgan Riley. The Calder goes to Demidov, so we didn't even get the Calder as a goalie. I find it's really hard to get the Calder as a goalie. I can't think of many goalies who've done it. And Carey Price, he's the only one who comes to mind right now. The Vezina goes to Ottinger, and the William Jennings also goes to Ottinger. I thought that was going to be going to Stolarz. But anyway, here we are. Ottinger running away with the goalie trophies this year. So in our first year, we are not a decorated player. We didn't get any trophies. We didn't get anything at all, really. Lost in the first round of the playoffs. We got a little bit of playoff experience, which I guess you can't complain about. If we go to rookie skaters here, where is he? Because Demidov won the Calder this year. Am I missing something? I don't see him. He had 44 points. He's 20. I don't know why it's not showing him under the rookies board. Maybe because it wasn't his first year in the NHL. He played 2 games in 2024-2025. But nonetheless, he still wins the Calder this year. He had 44 points in 73 games played. For some reason, we don't even fall under the rookie goalies category either. That's weird. But anyway, I thought that maybe 36 wins and a 918 and a 269 would have beaten 44 points, but clearly that is not the case. So we can officially put our win counter up to 36 now, and yeah, this is pretty great. Good stuff. That's the only accumulative stat that we'll record, except for maybe Vezina trophies. The save percentage and goals against average, that's an average across the whole career, so it's not accumulative. Yeah, I'm actually curious. I don't really know that much about goalie records. I know Brodeur's got the most wins, but it's like 400 and something. I'm going to take a peek at the record book right now. So Tyson Duke, as a rookie, he had 7 shutouts and 36 wins and has the all-time rookie franchise leader. And it is the all-time rookie franchise leader for both wins and shutouts by a rookie. If we go NHL rookie, we're not on the top 5. We missed out by 1 win in the rookie all-time top 5 board here. Ron Hextall had 37. We had 36, so we didn't quite get on that board. Shutouts too, we didn't get on the board. We only had 7 shutouts, and Steve Mason had 10. Yeah, so Tony Esposito, 15 shutouts in his rookie year. That's pretty great. Terry Sawchuk with 44 wins. Also pretty great. But that's not the stats I was originally looking for. I want to see career wins. Martin Brodeur. I don't know why I thought it was in the 400s. Look at that. 691 wins in his career. That is mighty impressive. So that is the number we're going to beat. We're going to try to shoot for 700 wins. I think we can do it. Why shouldn't a 99 overall get 700 wins in his career? This year we had 36. So if I get out my handy dandy calculator, let's say we have a 20 career. Oh my goodness, English. Let's say Tyson Duke plays for 20 seasons. 36 times 20 is 720. So hey, if we keep this same pace, I don't see why we wouldn't be able to get that many wins. But the question of this offseason is going to be, where does Tyson Duke sign? He only had a 1-year deal with the Sharks. Will he stay there or will he go somewhere else? We're going to have to find out. Stay tuned. Okay, once again, moment of truth. Let's see. Did the San Jose Sharks re-sign Tyson Duke or not? So as far as lines go, again, not really much different, although Jordan Eberle joins the squad. Was Khrushchev here last year? I don't think he was. Misa's in the lineup now this year too. Looking on the defensive end, oh, I like this addition. John Carlson joins the squad, and so that's going to be great in front of us. I mean, he's 36. He's still a 91 overall, though, and so he's got some pretty good defensive abilities, I do think, too. Maybe not. He's only signed for 1 year, and then he'll probably retire after that, to be honest. But, hey, you never know. But goalies, let's see. Duke did, in fact, re-sign with the San Jose Sharks and signed for a 6-year deal, 11.8 years, or 11.8 mil for 6 years. And yeah, there's also no clauses attached to his contract either. So it'd be interesting to see. Maybe he may go on the move. You never know. I mean, I feel like it'd be ridiculous to trade him away. But here we are again. Season 2 is coming up, and will we get a Vezina this year? Will we make the playoffs? That addition of John Carlson on the point, I think, is really good. And so let's see what can we do this year. Okay, so the San Jose Sharks made the playoffs again. Had 98 points, and the record was 42, 26, and 14. The Edmonton Oilers were the leaders in the Pacific Division this year. When we're looking at the Western Conference as a whole, the Colorado Avalanche, they get the conference, and so we were third in the conference. Any teams in the East do better than that? The Florida Panthers. Look at that. So the President's Trophy winners are the Florida Panthers this year. Toronto Maple Leafs were the Stanley Cup champions last year, and they were in third. And San Jose in 6th out of the whole league. So let's take a peek at the San Jose stats, see how they did. Carlson led the charge this year, was the only player with a point per game, 82 points in 82 games, 17 goals, 65 assists. So definitely a good addition for the San Jose Sharks. Macklin Celebrini, 33 goals, 40 assists for 73 points. I was hoping that when Macklin was 20, he'd be getting in the 100 points per year, and I think in real life he'll do that. I don't know why he's not simming all that well this year. He's got 1 year left on this contract, but it looks like he has signed a pretty long extension. We're gonna have to keep an eye out on that. Eklund as well. I wonder how many years he's got. Okay, he only has 1 year left. Which I think is this year. Eklund has 1 year left, but he signed an extension to 2033. So yeah, all around, can't really complain about what the Sharks did this season. If we jump over to goalies here, let's see, 62 games played, 32 wins, 18 losses, and this is the real kicker, 12 overtime losses. Just think if those 12 were added to our win column, we would have 44 wins on the season, but no, we only have 32. We had a .922 save percentage, a .256 goals against average, 2 years straight, actually, not exactly 1,900 saves. That's kind of wild. We had 3 shutouts this season. So if we go look at our total records in the NHL, we have 68 wins, 42 losses, 17 overtime losses, 10 shutouts. This year has brought our save percentage up, as well as our goals against average down. So all around a good year for us. But if we compare that to the rest of the NHL, what are we looking like here? Blackwood, 41 wins, the only goalie this year to have 40 wins or more. Honestly, it wasn't that solid of a year for other goalies either. Like, there was a couple more goalies last year in the win column. However, Duke is all the way down here. So not very good on that end. If we look at, again, I will sort it so that way we just have contending goalies. So minimum 10 games even. We were second with a .922. Goals against average, we were second as well. Vasilevsky only had 21 wins, but he leads in both those departments. I'm curious to see which stats weigh the most in regards to the Vezina trophy, whether it's goals against or shots versus saves or what. But oh, wait a second. Look at that. I didn't even think to look at this column here. 7 assists on the year for Duke. Attaboy. That's great. In the first year, did he get any? Had 1 assist, so that's 8 career points for Duke. You love to see it. I was gonna say, did Duke outscore any of the other actual players on our team? And he did not. So Timmins had 12 points and was the closest to us. We only had 5 points less than Timmins, so it's a shame. San Jose has made the playoffs once again, like I was saying earlier, and playing against the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round here. So last year we played Anaheim in the first round, and we lost to them in 7. Let's see if this year we can have a different outcome against the Vegas Golden Knights. The Edmonton Oilers are the Stanley Cup champions this year. So that's back-to-back years where Canadian teams have won the Stanley Cup. Gary Bettman must have retired. Anyways, so let's take a look at what happened in the playoffs. So we won the first round against the Vegas Golden Knights 4-2, but then Edmonton clean swept us. And wow, Edmonton, have yourselves a playoff year, only losing 4 games all playoffs. The Leafs made the Stanley Cup final for the second year in a row, but this time Edmonton gets the deal done, and for the second year in a row, an all-Canadian final. But Edmonton did what Winnipeg could not, and they win the Stanley Cup. Connor McDavid is the Art Ross Trophy recipient. The Hart goes to Cale Makar. So he must be getting the Norris this year instead of Morgan Riley. So the Norris goes to Makar. The Lady Byng goes to Makar. The Calder goes to Honzik. Conn Smythe goes to Leon Draisaitl. The Vezina The first ever Vezina of Duke's career. There it is. You absolutely love to see it. I wasn't sure. I thought maybe Vasilevsky was going to get it, considering he led both save percentage and goals against average. I also thought that maybe whoever it was that I can't remember now who had 41 wins, maybe they were going to get it too. But no, it is in fact Tyson Duke getting the Vezina, as well as the Jennings. So we had the fewest goals scored against us in 25 games played. Right on. Go, Duke, go. So even though we didn't win the Stanley Cup this year, we did in fact get 2 trophies added to our plate. So that is great news for us. We had a 6-year deal. That was our first year out of our 6-year deal. So let's see, what can we do this upcoming year? Will William Eklund sign with the Sharks again? He was on his last year, and we're going to take a look at what Celebrini and Smith's contracts look like as well. So let's see. Oh, also John Carlson, he only had a 1-year deal. Is he going to retire? I guess we'll find out soon enough. I'm not seeing Carlson's name on this list right now, so that is a good sign for us. It looks like he is not going to be retired. If we go up to San Jose, no one from San Jose Sharks retired this year. So let's see what happens. All right, so it appears that Eklund did in fact re-sign with the Sharks. He got a pretty sweet deal too, team friendly-ish, of 9.9 for 7 years. Celebrini, he also had an extension as well, 7 years for 9.065. So Eklund's even making more than Celebrini. That's crazy. Will Smith, 88 overall now, is 6-year, 5.6 mil. So all around, I'm pretty stoked for all these additions. Brian Rust is also a pretty solid depth piece. He's signed for a 1-year, 5.3 mil contract. Misa has gone up in overall a little bit, if my memory serves me right. He's on the wing. He's up in the league, just developing, doing his thing. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 3 years or so we see him up on the second line, sitting around maybe an 85 overall. Did Carlson resign? He did. Look at that. He did drop from a 91 to an 89, but that's okay. That's not too bad. He signed a 2-year deal. And I wouldn't be shocked if at the end of those 2 years he hangs up the skates. 14.4. That's crazy. He is the highest contract on our team at 14.4. Not even Tyson Duke is that high. But also, whoa, why is Duke in the backup position here? Maybe it's because we just finished preseason. I'm not sure. I'm sure that'll change. That'll change, right? That'll change. We're on the first day of the regular season right now, October 12th, and we are playing against the Sharks. And on the bottom of the screen there, you see it's Matt Murray with the Kraken against Spencer Martin of the Sharks. So Martin is getting the first nod in this new season. So we'll see. Hopefully Duke can get more starts. I'm sure he will be given more starts. Maybe it's just because of matchups and whatnot. But here we are, and we're going to see how Duke simulates this season. Just because I was curious, I simulated the Sharks and Seattle game, and Martin was in fact pulled after letting in 6 goals, and Duke played 7 minutes and didn't let in a goal. He only faced 1 shot, but he saved it, and so that's a good stat for him. 1 save, no goals, 1,000 save percentage to start off the year. So anyway, let's see how he simulates for the rest of the season. So there's some slight sad news this year. The San Jose Sharks did not make the playoffs. It's time to see what went wrong here. So in the division, they missed the playoffs by 4 points. The Vegas Golden Knights got that last spot at 90 points, and San Jose only had 86. That sucks for Chicago to have the same amount of points and not make it. But we were definitely in the running with a couple of other teams, and we just couldn't seal the deal. Winnipeg and Los Angeles also were only 1 point away. Macklin Celebrini with 69 points on the season. Eklund behind him with 58. Carlson only had 56 this year. He was a point per game last year, but he has dropped off significantly. Even this year going down another 2 overall. Celebrini is a 91 overall, and so I'm shocked that he's only getting 69 points. And Eklund too, he's pretty high at 80, only an 86. Okay, never mind. I thought he was up around 89. Will Smith was 88 to start the year off, and he still is an 88. No playoff hopes for this year for the Sharks. Duke played 54 games, only had 27 wins, 21 losses, and 3 overtime losses. 5 shutouts, which was a little bit less than last year. He had 7. He had 3 last year. He had 7 in his rookie year. That's right. Save percentage is a .925. Goals against average, the best in our career it's been so far at a .245. So, I mean, those are still good stats. The only thing we're really missing is the amount of wins that we've had before. If we look to the whole league, no goalies had 40 wins. However, there are quite a few in the 30s. And yeah, look at that. We are all the way down here. There he is, Duke. But if we sort by save percentage, put a little filter on minimum 10 games, let's say. Duke, he's third. He's third, and he's on this top 10 with the exception of Knight, has the most games played. If we look at the goals against average, oops, wrong one. Duke as well is second. So there is a shot that, who knows, maybe we will, at least the Jennings maybe. We only had 123 goals against. Although Brossois, he had 27 games played and 54 goals against, so he might just get it as well. Yeah, it's looking like he's got the fewest goals against with 25 or more games played. So we'll sim ahead to see who wins the Stanley Cup, and then we'll take a peek at the trophies. The Florida Panthers are the Stanley Cup champions. Canadian teams couldn't do it 3 years in a row. And so here we are. Florida is the champions. And let's take a look at what the playoff tree ended up looking like. So Florida, just like Edmonton last year, Edmonton, actually, you got one-upped. Florida only lost 3 games all playoffs. Edmonton had lost 4 last year. So Florida, once again, one-ups Edmonton. And it was a Dallas-Florida final. So battle of the Southern teams. The Art Ross once again goes to McDavid, so does the Hart. The Norris goes to Bouchard, Lady Byng to Kyle Connor. The Vezina does in fact go to Spencer Knight, and the Jennings also goes to Knight. So he played a lot of games. Oh, I see. Okay. I was wrong this whole time. I thought that it was whichever goalie had the least amount of goals scored against it, but no, it's in fact whichever team had the least goals scored against it. I see. And yeah, so we didn't get any other trophies. The only other trophy we could get anyways is the Hart. Here we are, another year in the books and trophyless in our 3rd year. We are 5 wins away from 100 wins. And we've had 15 shutouts in our career as well, so that is pretty sweet. We have a .922 save percentage and a .258 goals against average in our career, so we are just slowly getting those numbers down and getting them better. Saves, we have 5,000 saves. I'm not even sure I'd be curious to see how many saves Brodeur has. One sec, I'm going to look that up. So the most saves in NHL history goes to Martin Brodeur. He played 22 seasons and had 28,928 saves. So we only have a fraction of that in 3 seasons. Next is Luongo. He played 19 seasons, had 28,000 saves, 409. And then Marc-Andre Fleury is third with 27,188. So we have 5,318 saves in 3 seasons. So if we times that by, let's say 6, let's say we play 18 seasons, then we will have 31,908 saves. So I think 30,000 saves would be a good goal for us. I think 700 wins, 30,000 saves. I think those are 2 pretty solid goals. And while we're on the topic, let's take a peek at most shutouts in history as well. Martin Brodeur also leads in most shutouts at 125. That's actually insane. So we'll see. Maybe we can get 125 shutouts in our career as well. If we go, I think right now, if we do that same number times it by 6, we're only on pace for 90. So if we break 100 shutouts, I'd be happy with that. So let's see what we can do. Season 4 coming up. So John Carlson, even though he still had 1 year left on his contract, he did in fact retire this year with 928 points. I am of the opinion he should have played one more. He could have potentially gotten those 72 points to get 1,000, but hey, you never know. So he hangs up the skates, and I think he's the only one on San Jose who does. Let's take a look at that. And also Good Branson does as well with 137 points in 806 games. Congratulations to the two of them on a pretty solid career. Okay, so Smith is finally on the top line with Celebrini and Eklund. I've honestly been wondering what's taken them so long to make this change. Kurashev's up on the second line too. Peyton Krebs is on our team in 87 overall. He's here for 5 years. He's on the third line. I'm wondering if that'll switch. And as my predictions were sort of correct, it didn't quite take 3 years for him to get there. But Michael Misa's an 85 overall. That is a massive jump from last year being a 77. So he's only got 1 year left on his contract. But it'll be interesting to see what his contributions are this year. Tyler Toffoli's still kicking around. He's probably got 2 years. Yeah, 2 years left on his contract. Kerfoot signed with us this year. I'd imagine it's a 1 year deal. Okay, a 2 year deal. Defense, we're missing John Carlson, so we are back to the same old. Sam Dickinson, however, has been progressing and is an 85 overall. He's signed a 3 year extension, it looks like. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this year. Hopefully our team is able to put together some wins. I would love to get back into the 30 win column. I think if we want to reach that goal of 700 wins in a season, we are definitely going to need to get that win total up. So for the second year in a row, the San Jose Sharks have not made the playoffs, and it's looking like our window is potentially closing, which is weird because you'd think having Will Smith, having Macklin Celebrini, having William Eklund, there would be some sort of core there that can drive us forward, but maybe just defensively we just don't have it. Looking over in the East, though, we got a couple rivalry matchups. We got the Habs versus the Leafs in the first round, as well as the Battle of Florida up there as well. And so it'll be interesting to see how this playoff shakes up. Will Smith, I expected more to him on the second line, only got 64 points. Toffoli led the team with 39 goals, though. Almost 40 goals as a 36-year-old. That's pretty impressive. We did get back in the 30 win column. We played 75 games. That is a lot of games as a goalie to be playing in a season. But 36 wins, 30 losses, and 8 overtime losses. We add another 3 shutouts to the list, and we had a .914 save percentage, so a little bit lower this year compared to years past, and also our goals against average is a little bit higher, so not necessarily what you want to see. Look at those shots totals. Our first 2 seasons, we had exactly 1,900 saves, so add another 300 saves to our belt this year. We are seeing a lot of shots. Goals against 213. Comrie had 27. So together that puts the Sharks at 240 goals against. So I've got a feeling that that's not going to be William Jennings worthy. Yeah, the Edmonton Oilers even less goals against than we do. So yeah, 215. Were they the league leaders in goals against? They were. We were close though. At least I thought we were. Did I do math wrong? I think I did math wrong. Anyway, 246 goals against. That's not so nice. As far as making the playoffs went, we missed out again by a few points, a few more this year than last. 8 points this year, at least in this division. If we look at the conference, we only missed out by 2 points. Wow, that was a tight race between all these teams here. Anaheim, unfortunately, had the same amount of points but did not get a playoff spot. That is pretty sad.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Jumping back over to player statistics, I forgot to take a peek at the league goaltending. I'm really hoping that this year was just an off year for goalies. So Jari, look at him go. 71 games played, 47 wins. Top tier, if you ask me. Hellebuck as well. So I'd be shocked if we get an award this year. So the Toronto Maple Leafs have done it again, and they have won the Stanley Cup. So that means that they beat Montreal out in the first round. So let's take a look. Oh, Ottawa has our first round pick. That's sad, but that's okay. Let's see what the playoff tree is looking like this year. So it's Edmonton, Toronto again in the finals. However, this time Toronto had their way with Edmonton and won 4-2. So McDavid gets the Art Ross and the Hart. Bouchard with back-to-back Norrises. Makar with the Lady Byng this year. Dumais with the Calder. And Morgan Riley, Conn Smythe winner. They don't ask how, they ask how many. The Vezina goes to Jari this year, and so does the Jennings. That makes sense. Edmonton was just on one this year. Of course, we picked a team that just had to be in the same division as Edmonton, eh? But yeah, here we are again. Although, look, Celebrini gets his name in the trophy case here for best defensive aspects of the game. That's probably why he's not scoring as much, because he's focusing on defense, but that's fine. I'll take that as a goalie. And Matthews with the Rocket. So, another year in the books, another trophyless year. Will the San Jose Sharks make the playoffs next year? That's the real big question, because we're running out of contract time for Duke. He's got 3 years left. This was his year 4, so next year, the start of next season, will be 3 years left. So we're gonna have to see what happens. He's still a 99 overall, so he hasn't regressed or anything like that. Yeah, we just had the Vezina and the Jennings in that one season, in our second season, I believe it was. But through 4 years, we've got 131 wins and 18 shutouts, a 920, a 268. Our saves are up to 7,500 and change. And yeah, we're looking like we're in pretty good shape. We're for hitting goals and whatnot. So this past season really brought up our save totals quite a bit, having 2,200 saves. So we'll see if next season, if we play as many games as we did this season. I kind of hope so, in the sense where it gives us more opportunity to win. Our guy's only 22 years old, I think, or 21, so he's still young. But we're going to see what additions San Jose makes. I'm hoping they add some good blue line presence this year. Sidney Crosby finally retires, 25 points shy of 2,000. Patrick Kane also retires. Marchand and Carlson, Corey Perry, Brent Burns. I see Taylor Hall in Toronto there. Look at that. Jordan Eberle also retires this year. Brian Russ retires. Dmitry Orlov hangs up the skates as well, and so and Merrill. So those are two of our defense. So we're gonna see what additions we make defensively. Getting rid of Eberle and Russ' contract are pretty nice, so it should open up the door for maybe a better defenseman. William Eklund is up to a 90 overall now. Celebrini is up to a 92. Batherson and Krause were a part of a trade from Ottawa, which is why they had our first round pick this past year. So Batherson and Krause came from Ottawa at the deadline. Will Smith is still an 88 overall. There hasn't been any progression in his game. Yeah, Celebrini, he's 23, so he's still got quite a bit of time to still progress before he starts regressing. Toffoli's 37 on the last year of his deal, I do believe. Yes. And so, yeah, we're going to see what happens with him. Kurashev now has X Factor ability, tape to tape, it looks like. Misa dropped from an 85 to an 83 from last season. Defensively, again, we haven't really added much except for maybe Sandberg. I don't remember seeing his name before. Josh Lee, he's a young defenseman, so 79 overall, 21 years old. So maybe he's only on a 2-year deal, but if he sticks around, he may have some potential. He's got top 6D medium potential. So we're gonna see what Duke does this year. For the 3rd year in a row, the San Jose Sharks do not make the playoffs. After sitting in a playoff spot for a majority of the year too, I will add. So I would imagine they probably only missed out by maybe a point. Look at that. We had the exact same amount of points as the Calgary Flames, yet they had one more win. So we do not get the playoff spot this year. For majority of the season in the Pacific Division, where Vancouver was sitting in third is where the San Jose Sharks were. So, I mean, if you look at it, there's only 2 points separating these 4 teams, so it really could have gone any way. The Edmonton Oilers are just on another level, 113 points. The Stars, however, one up them at 114 points, and is that the best in the league? It is. So the Dallas Stars are the President's Trophy winners this year. If we look ahead at individual player statistics, Duke, 66 games, 30 wins, 27 losses, a .906 save percentage, the worst so far in our career, as well as a .303 goals against average. Guys, is Duke washed? He didn't have 2,000 saves this season, which is quite sad. But looking at career totals, 161 wins, 324 games played. So he's got a 50% point rate, I'm pretty sure. Or win rate, I should say. He's like 49.9% actually. Shutouts, he only had 1 shutout this season, so that total only went up to 19. I'm trying to go for 100 shutouts in a career, but these numbers are not looking like 100 shutout worthy. Save percentage has gone down this year. It's now sitting at a .917. We really want to be able to replicate this third season that we had. However, it's just not looking like that's been in the cards lately. Ottinger with 40 wins, Jari with 40 wins, and Wallstead was close with 39, and so was Demko. Wallstead may be the recipient of the goalie trophies this year. He had some pretty stellar stats. Ottinger also may be a recipient as well, so we're going to have to see. Time will tell. The Edmonton Oilers are the Stanley Cup champions, and they just keep trading back and forth with the Leafs, it seems, over the last few years. So let's take a peek at what happened in the playoffs. So the Leafs did not make the finals this year. They lost in the Eastern Conference Finals 4-2, but clean sweep for Edmonton in the finals against New Jersey. And yeah, Edmonton will not be denied. Yeah, if we look at the Cup winners for the last 5 years, Edmonton, Leafs, Panthers, Edmonton, Leafs, and then I guess Panthers if we're still going down. So we got a little bit of a trend going on this year. If history repeats itself once again, it should be the Florida Panthers who win the Cup next. McDavid with another Art Ross trophy, and Hart, Norris to Bouchard once again for the 3rd year in a row. Lady Byng to Bouchard this year. T. Ott gets the Calder, the Conn Smythe to Dry, and the Vezina did in fact go to Wallstead, but the Jennings goes to Ersson. I did not see that coming. Duke had his name here in 2026, 2027, but it's not looking too promising for this year. Well, obviously he didn't win them. San Jose, what are you going to do this offseason? We are 3 years now without making the playoffs in a row, so what are we going to do? Okay, so a little bit of action this offseason. Tage Thompson, 32 years old, 88 overall, signs with the Sharks on a 2-year deal. I really like that piece. I really do. Jordan Greenway also signs. Sam Steele does as well. Misa went up 1 overall to an 84. It's looking like he's going to be a bottom 6 player in the NHL. But yeah, Tage Thompson is a great addition. I think he should be on the first power play unit. He's not, but okay, weird. On the defensive end, nothing really to note. Nothing has changed much. We honestly have a pretty old defensive core with the exception of Dickinson, who's 24, and I guess we can add in Mukamudulin in there too. I have no idea if I said that name right. The young guy we had in our squad last year is probably sent down. Duke has dropped down from a 99 to a 98, and that's not good. That's not something you want to see out of a 24-year-old goalie. I'm sure he'll get that back up, but what stats have dropped down? Honestly, almost all of them except for his poise. and aggressiveness have dropped down. Speed's gone down to a 91, and so I don't know what's up with that, but he's down to a 98 overall now. Hopefully that can get back up. But when we're looking at our contract, we only have 2 years left in our deal. So Sharks, he's given you at least 2 more years. What are we going to do with it? Are we going to make the playoffs and go on a cup run? Or will, after these 2 years are up, Duke leave? Or will he resign even though they may not win a cup? Who knows? We're going to have to find out, and we will see. So the San Jose Sharks have done it, and for the first time in 3 years, they have made the Stanley Cup playoffs. So they're playing against the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round, but then the winner of that has to play Edmonton versus Minnesota, and that'll be a pretty tough matchup. So Edmonton, I'm pretty sure they won the conference this year. I could be wrong, or they won the division. It was the Stars who won the conference this year at 120 points. Wow. That is pretty wild. San Jose was 5th in the conference. And if we're looking at the entire league, Dallas did, in fact, get the President's Trophy this year. Florida was a close second. And, yeah, so let's take a look, though, at season stats and who did well on the Sharks, because clearly there was a difference maker this year. And so Celebrini was mostly healthy. He played 79 games, had 85 points. Batherson with 82 points. Eklund had almost a point per game, 76 in 77 games. Tage Thompson, I honestly expected a little bit better out of him. He only had 54 points in 82 games. So yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. If we're looking at the whole league, actually let's take a look at Duke's stats first. So 69 games played, 38 wins, 24 losses, 5 overtime losses, 6 shutouts. So that's pretty commendable. A 920 save percentage and a 258 goals against average. So we're finally getting those numbers back in a competitive territory. So Ottinger had 45 wins, Jari with 41. Those two seem to be the winner of the wins column each year. Let's take a look at, wrong one. Let's take a look at save percentage. Duke was 4th on the save percentage list. Logan Thompson was 2nd. And so he may be your Vezina Trophy winner this year. We're going to have to see. Duke was 4th on the goals against average as well. Ottinger also was up there at a 257. So we had more saves than Ottinger did. Who had the most saves in the league this year? Jacob Dobis had 2,200 saves. Then Carter Hart was next. Dostal, Shesterkin, and Duke's kind of all the way down here at 1980. Did he lead the league in shutouts, though? Ottinger, there's a couple of goalies with 6 shutouts. Ottinger, Wolf, Ersson, Jari, Duke, and Hellebuck all had 6 shutouts. So it's kind of a gamble at this point who's going to get the Vezina this year. But before we find that out, it is in fact time for the playoffs. So we are playing against the Vegas Golden Knights, and we're going to see who's going to win the cup this year. If the pattern stays consistent, it's Florida's year. So we're gonna see if we can break that pattern and hopefully get a cup for Dukes. I almost said Forrester again. If you know, you know. The Chicago Blackhawks are the Stanley Cup champions, so the pattern has been broken. Florida did not win. However, San Jose also did not win. So let's take a look at the stats. Statistic, yep. Statistic, yep. Statistic, yep. Statistic, yep. So San Jose won the first round, but then lost to Minnesota in the second. I'm shocked that Minnesota actually swept Edmonton. That's pretty shocking. Every series that Chicago played all the way up to the final went to 7. And so that's pretty crazy, actually. But they beat Philly in the final. It was a rematch of 2013. And look at that. Chicago beats Philly once again. And yeah, look at that. Florida tried to make that pattern stick, but they got swept in the Eastern Conference Final. So Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen was Chicago's goalie here. He had 16 wins. Duke in 11 games played had only 5 wins and had 5 losses. One shutout. I was gonna say, wait a sec, a shootout loss? No, a shutout. He had 1 shutout, a 9.37 and a 2.34, which may be, out of goalies who played minimum 5 games, he may be one of the better ones on that list. Yeah. So pretty commendable. Hopefully that goes towards Vezina conversation, but we're going to have to see here. So again, Chicago won the Stanley Cup. McDavid, that's a clean sheet for him. 5 years in a row now for the Art Ross. 4 years in a row for the Hart. The Norris goes to Bouchard for the 4th year in a row. Lady Byng goes to Quinn Hughes. The Calder goes to O'Reilly here. The Conn Smythe, Clayton Keller gets it. I would have figured it would have been Bedard who had it, but no, Clayton Keller gets it. And the Vezina does go to Ottinger, as well as the William Jennings trophy. So Ottinger is just stealing the show. Well, actually, that's a pretty decent spread of goalies who've won it. There hasn't been the same goalie who've won it 2 years in a row for the last 5 years. So maybe it just seems because he gets the most amount of wins every year that he's running away with it. But yeah, that's what this year looks like. Again, no awards for Duke. So in 6 seasons played, Duke is 1 win shy of 200, sitting at 199 wins, has 25 shutouts. So to get 100 shutouts on this pace, he's going to have to play 24 seasons. I don't think that's too likely. So he's going to have to step up those shutout numbers. He's got a .918 save percentage on the career and a .272 goals against average. Now, he was a 98 at the start of the season, but he has progressed back up to a 99, which is really great. All of his stats there are sitting at 99, so we love to see that. He's 25 now, and he's got 1 year left on his contract. So will the Sharks be able to do something while he's still around? We're gonna have to see what this last year of Duke's contract, how that plays out, and what takes form from this year. And the San Jose captain Tyler Toffoli finally retires. He had 934 points. Steven Stamkos also hangs up the skates, a commendable career, just 8 points shy of 1,500. Norris Trophy winner, Conn Smythe winner. Look at him go. He finally retires with 959 points as well. So these are the lines for the last season of Duke's contract. He could re-sign with them, you never know, but this is what we're looking like. I think Nathan Bastian's an addition, but other than that, it looks pretty much the same to me. Here's Josh Lee. He's back. He's still a 79 overall. I don't even know who this guy is. He's 25 though, and he's young too, so hopefully they can progress up to low 80s, if not mid 80s. Last season of the contract, let's see what happens. So the Sharks have made the playoffs in Duke's last year, and they're playing against the Calgary Flames, who won the division, if I do recall. And San Jose just kind of snuck in there, although Anaheim didn't really give them too much challenge, I suppose, being 11 points out. Chicago Blackhawks take the cake. Dallas Stars are next, and so no teams from the Central got any wild card spot. Those both went to Pacific teams. Vancouver made the playoffs this year. And if we look at the entire league, Chicago did in fact win the President's Trophy, and the Devils weren't far behind, only 3 points back. 5 Canadian teams made the playoffs this year, so that's not too bad, just missing the Leafs and Winnipeg. Celebrini gets 82 points in 82 games. Eklund was the next best at 68 points in 82 games. Again, Tage Thompson, expected better out of him. I know he's getting a little bit older, but 52 points in 82 games. Yeah, and then if we look at our goaltending situation, 70 games played, 37 wins, 30 losses, 3 overtime losses, 7 shutouts this year, so that's good for our shutout numbers. A pretty decent save percentage too, 920, and then a 255 goals against average, so we could potentially be in conversation for Vezina, but first we're going to have to take a look at what the rest of the goalies in the league did. Jacob Fowler, have yourself a year, 47 goals.
What?
Or wins. Wow. Spencer Knight as well. Demko as well. Clearly he has not caught the injury bug in this video game simulation. Swayman too, and Duke sitting there at 5th. Duke's on that front screen there, and he's got the most games played besides Spencer Knight. And then if we're going by goals against average, he's still on there. But again, Spencer Knight. I think Spencer Knight's going to be getting those trophies this year. Look, what's his overall? He's an 89 overall. And Duke, he's still sitting at a 99, but for some reason he's just not being exceptional. It could be because of the team that he has and the defense that's in front of him. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if that's the case. He adds another 2,000 shots to his save arsenal, and we're going to have to see what happens in the playoffs here. The Minnesota Wild are the Stanley Cup champions this year, and let's take a look at what happened in the playoffs. Where did San Jose get beaten out? It was the first round, so the Flames had their way with the Sharks, won that series 4-2, got swept by Vegas, who then lost to Minnesota. Dallas took Minnesota to 7. Florida also took Minnesota to 7 in the finals, but could not win. And Florida, they had a tough journey to get there. Besides the first round, it was 3 series that went to 7 for them. But sadly, the San Jose Sharks did not make it past the first round, and Tyson Dukes is still cupless. But let's see, did he get a Vezina this year? That is the real question. Connor Bedard knocks McDavid off of the Art Ross podium for the first time in 5, potentially 6 years. He also gets the Hart. The Norris goes to Jacob Chychrun, finally knocking Bouchard off the podium as well. And so McDavid does still walk away with the trophy with the Lady Byng. A guy on the Oilers also gets the Calder. The Conn Smythe goes to Quinn Hughes, and the Vezina does in fact go tonight, and as does the Jennings. No trophies again this year for Tyson Dukes. So we're going to see Celebrini gets the Selke again for the second year in a row, third time in 4 years. But Bedard, have yourself a year. So where does Tyson Dukes end up this offseason? We're going to have to find out, so stick around and see. So Tage Thompson signs an extension with the Sharks, another 2-year deal. Batherson as well, I think, has an extension with them now. Will Smith's an 89, Celebrini's 93, Eklund's down to an 89, Thompson's down to an 84 this year. But it's the moment you've all been waiting for. Time to see, did Tyson Dukes sign with the Sharks again? He did not. So Swayman is now the Sharks starter. So now I get the fun job of trying to find out where Tyson Dukes ended up. All right, Buffalo, let's see what you got. So Duke is the starter and Carter Hart is the backup. So we're going to see now what the rest of the team is looking like. Oof. This isn't looking too pretty. Benson and Wanvig are the highest overall guys, 90 overall and 89. But when we're looking at these bottom 2 lines, like we're rocking the 70s, we're rocking 80, 81, even 82 and 80 on the second line as well. Let's hope we make up for it on the defensive end. Hello. Dahlin is still sticking around. Power's still here. Hedman's here as well. Dahlin's a 93 overall. This may help us on keeping the puck out of the net. We may get a Jennings in the future potentially. Dahlin's got 4 more years on his contract. Power, let's see how much term he's got. He's got 2 years left. And Hedman is on his last year. This is an interesting development. I was not mentally prepared to leave the Sharks yet, but here we are with Buffalo, and we're gonna try to make the playoffs. I've got a feeling that on the defensive end, we're there. We can do it, but offensively, I don't know if we've got what it takes to make the playoffs. But let's see what kind of deal we signed. So we're here for a while. So 7 years at $20 million. All right, Tyson Duke, congratulations. You got paid. And so we have a no move clause as well. So we are in Buffalo for the next 7 years. So in our first 7 years with the San Jose Sharks, we had 236 wins and 463 games. So that is just a little bit over 50%, which is nice. We had 32 shutouts, a 918 save percentage, and a 269 goals against average. In 7 years, we've made 13,416 saves, and we've let in under 1,200 goals. So we've a pretty solid career for us. We have 22 assists. I'm curious to see. I always forget to go over to this part of it, but curious to see among active goalies if we have the most amount of assists or not. But as far as playoff stats go, this is kind of where I wish to have seen more wins. However, if you look at our save percentage and goals against average, that is just unreal. Those are two really great stats. We haven't gotten as many wins as I had hoped. But let's see if in Buffalo we can do something different, do something special here. All right, let's see what we got. Our first year with the Buffalo Sabres is in the books, and we have actually made the playoffs, and we're playing against the Montreal Canadiens in the first round. And the winner of this matchup plays against Florida or Toronto, so that's kind of unfortunate, not gonna lie. The Sharks also made the playoffs. We'll keep tabs on them throughout this year and maybe next, but yeah, let's see. How did Tyson Duke do? Firstly, Darlene led our team with 74 points. Nothing too exceptional there. Benson had 67. Nice. Hedman had 62. Two of our top three players on our team are defensemen. Is kind of sad when you think about it offensively. But yeah, let's see. How did Duke do? So 63 games played, 34 wins, 23 losses. Only had 2 shutouts this year. I was really hoping I could get those numbers up consistently around 7 to 10 in that range. Had a 919 save percentage and a 265 goals against average. So I would say that's a pretty average year. If we look across the whole league, yeah. So we had 34 wins. Top guy, Jacob Fowler, once again had 47. Chicago just apparently seems to be an unreal team. Save percentage wise, Levi was pretty good. Carter George was also pretty good. I'm just looking at guys who played quite a few games. Duke's up there as well. Goals against average, Levi again is pretty good, and so is Spencer Knight. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see who gets the Jennings or the Vezina. So the Dallas Stars are the Stanley Cup champions this year, and the Toronto Marlies win the Calder Cup. Let's see what happened during the playoffs. We did beat Montreal in Game 7. However, Toronto beat us in Game 7 just to get swept by the Capitals, who then lost against the Stars. Sharks didn't make it past the first round, so at least we have a little chip on our shoulder that way. So Ottinger gets the most amount of wins. Duke had 7 wins, was a 929, and had 242. And looking at the stats, it looks like that may have been, well, do it at 5 games minimum. Looks like Duke did pretty well, actually. He was 4th for save percentage, and although goals against average wasn't too hot, but let's take a look at the awards for the year. Who got what? The Vezina does go to Levi, in fact, and as we suspected, the Jennings goes to Knight. So another trophyless year for Duke. Let's see, what does Buffalo do this offseason to get them to the next level? So we didn't really add that many players to the mix this year. However, we did see some really nice growth in Benson. Also, Bjork. I don't know if he's new or not this year. Actually, I can't remember. But 86 overall. Wanvig is up to a 90. So the nice thing about Buffalo is that they're a young team. So they've got a lot of room for improvement. Like Ponov-Kurovsky here, he's only 20 and he's an 89 overall. So there's definitely a lot of room for improvement. We lost Victor Hedman this year. I think he retired, if my memory serves me right. But so we got Darlene and Power still. And then we got a pretty young decor again, 20 years old or 24 years old, 19, 21, 19. So there's definitely so much room for growth. And I think we're in the second year of our 7-year deal. So I think, by the time like even the next 2 years or so, we should be in pretty good shape. A lot of our young players will have progressed. And so, yeah, we're really curious to see what it is we can accomplish with this young Buffalo squad. So the Buffalo Sabres have made the playoffs once again, and they're facing off against the Detroit Red Wings in the first round. And again, just keeping an eye on the Sharks, just because they're near and dear to our hearts. They also made the playoffs and are playing against the Nashville Predators. So when we're talking about Buffalo being a young squad and how they're going to be exceptional in a couple of years, did you expect it to happen in 1 year? look at this. The San Jose Sharks and the Buffalo Sabres tied for the President's Trophy. Buffalo had more wins, so I don't know why San Jose is technically first, I guess. Maybe it has something to do with, I don't know, a goal differential. I'm not entirely sure how that all breaks down. However, Buffalo Sabres are the leaders in the East. And if we take a look at the point breakdown, I'm curious to see who on Buffalo got all the points. So it wasn't really one person who got a bunch of points. So like Dahlin's our top point scorer with 81 points. It was just, you know, the power of friendship, I guess, that got us to where we are. Either that or it was the power of goaltending. Look at that, 42 wins for Duke, 42, 15, and 6 in 65 games. 3 shutouts this season, a .925 save percentage, and a .943 goals against average. Although, again, I don't know if that's going to be enough to win a award. It's great numbers, don't get me wrong. It's just, it might not be enough. Duke did get the most goals. I'm shocked. Normally, Ottinger is the one who holds that slot. In the past couple of years, too, it's been Spencer Knight who's been in that position as well. However, when we look at the amount of, or if we look at save percentage, Duke is the highest. Wow. And goals against average, he's second for lowest. So maybe just maybe, this may just maybe be the year that he gets another trophy. Wow, English is hard sometimes. Adding another 1,800 saves to the arsenal as well. 9 seasons now in the show, 312 wins, 37 shutouts. You absolutely love to see it. The Stanley Cup champions are the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver fans, you can finally rest your head on the pillow tonight knowing that your team has a Stanley Cup. So let's see what happened this playoffs. Buffalo, your President's Trophy winners, did not even make it out of the first round, let alone they didn't even get 2 wins. Only 1 win for Buffalo this playoffs. That's just sadness right there. Sadness all around. Duke kind of got lit up, not going to lie. Duke had 3 goals against and a .903. Not super great stats to be honest. But let's take a peek at the other awards as well. So, Bedard, Art Ross, Hart. The Norris goes to Hughes once again. The Lady Byng as well. Conn Smythe went to Rossi and the Vezina. Look at that. Duke gets it and Duke gets it. So we're finally again have trophies back in the case. That's a great feeling. That's a really great feeling. So year 2 of 7 in Buffalo is done. Still no Stanley Cup to show for. Let's see what additions get made this offseason. So during this offseason, a little slider came up on the bottom of the screen declaring a trade. We traded 2 of our prospects for Charlie McAvoy. So he's 36 years old. He's an 85 overall. He still has his X Factor abilities. However, he only has 1 year left on his contract, so it'd be curious to see what happens after this year. But nonetheless, Charlie McAvoy is now added to our squad. And we got rid of the backup goalie. His name was Savage, I think. We got rid of him as well as one of our forwards who I think was on the 3rd line. So 2 kind of more young players for Charlie McAvoy. So we'll see if it works out in our favor. We've got 3 players now who are up to 90 overall. Pugh's on the way up. He's an 86 overall. And so I'm hoping that these 2 guys playing with Ponikarovsky would be able to upgrade as well. So we're going to see what happens this year. So we got some sad news this year. Buffalo did not make the playoffs. It is absolutely heartbreaking. How far out was Buffalo? Pretty far out. I mean, well, 5 points. Actually, not too far. The fact that there's 3 teams in between them in a playoff spot as well makes it seem a little more far-fetched. But I mean, everyone besides the New York Rangers were pretty close this year. The Sharks also didn't make the playoffs this year. I just thought that was noteworthy as well. So Ponikarovsky led the team with 67 points.
Nice.
followed by Darlene with 66. Big blue line acquisition, 47 points for Charlie McAvoy. I wouldn't be surprised if he skedaddles after this. We had 33 wins, so we couldn't quite replicate our win count from last year. 3 shutouts, a 9-19, and a 2-6-1. So I doubt that that's going to be in the conversation for trophies, but we're just going to have to sim ahead and find out. Detroit Red Wings are the Stanley Cup champions this year. So they played against the Vancouver Canucks in the finals and won in Game 7. So that is very dramatic. Now here's something you don't see every day. Cale Makar, a defenseman, gets the Art Ross and the Hart, as well as the Norris, makes sense, and the Lady Byng. Have yourself a year. The Vezina goes to the Sens goalie Oliver, and so does the Jennings. So no awards for us. Cale Makar, have yourself a year, I guess. How many points did he get? Look at that, 109 points. He had 82 assists, so he got an assist per game, 27 goals. Bedard, only 59 goals this year. McKinnon had 55. He's still kicking around at age 39. All right, Buffalo. Again, what are you going to do this offseason? The addition of McAvoy was nice in theory, but in practice it didn't really pan out. And so we're going to have to see if he sticks around or what's the situation going to look like. Connor Hellebuck, have yourself a career. 605 wins in the NHL, giving Martin Brodeur a run for his money. Brodeur had 679 wins, I think it was, if my memory serves me right. So Connor Hellebuck had most games played as an NHL goalie, 1,755. Ovechkin, the only player to this date to have over 1,000 goals in the NHL. No one's even close to touching Wayne's points. Leon Draisaitl just retired this year, so he's done, finishing behind McDavid by 3 points, but wins. Martin Brodeur, he had 691, so Connor Hellebuck's the closest since. Sergei Bobrovsky, he retired a couple seasons ago, and he was also kind of entering that territory a little bit, but no one is even getting close to Martin Brodeur's 125 shutouts. All right, so we are entering our 3rd year of this contract, I believe. No, we've played 3 years of this contract. We are entering our 4th year of the contract, and then we'll have 3 more after that. We're still a 99 overall, 99 in every aspect whatsoever. We've got 4 years left on our deal with Buffalo. This year, it's looking a little bit concerning. Benson is the only player who's still at a 90 overall. Wanvig has dropped down, as well as Ponikarovsky. They were both 90s at the start of last year, and so that's kind of unfortunate to see. However, Pugh, on the other hand, he is an 87 now. He was an 86 last year. However, when you look at our defense, that's where our power lies. Darlene, he was a 93 when we signed. He's now an 88, and he's got 2 years left on his deal, so he may hang up the skates after that. Owen Power has 3 years left, and he doesn't want to go anywhere. Look, he's got 29 teams no trade, 24 teams no trade. So we still have, like, looking at our bottom 4, despite the fact that our top D pairing is 35 and 32. Our bottom 4, we got 21, 23, 21, and 24. So there's a good future here. And you know what they say, defense wins hockey games. So we're going to see how many hockey games we win this season. And a quick stat check heading into our 11th season. So through our first 10 seasons in the NHL, we have 345 wins. Times that by 2, 20 seasons in the NHL, we're looking at 690 wins, which is one shy of Brodeur. So let's really hope that we can, in the back half of our career, really step up the tempo and stay consistent and, get a couple more 40-win seasons under our belt. We got 40 shutouts total in our career, and we've got 18,000 saves. So again, our goal was to hit 30,000 saves in a career, as well as get 700 wins. So with those being our goals, I think we're sitting pretty right now. So let's keep it up. So Buffalo exceeded my expectations and made the playoffs. Buffalo versus the Columbus Blue Jackets in the first round. The Sharks also made the playoffs this year. I mean, we're 3 years out of that organization, so I don't think we really need to keep tabs on them too much anymore. But hey, here we are. So Celebrini and Eklund, look at them. Look at the two of them. Why couldn't they do that when I was on their team, huh? Ridiculous. Anyways, so Celebrini's the Art Ross winner. Does he also get the Rocket? No, Bedard does. He has 67 goals. Nice. Where's Duke? There he is. 39 wins and only 59 games too. So that's a pretty sweet win percentage. 5 shutouts. It's finally nice to get above 5 once again. The only thing is Wallstead. Again, he's right there with us on save percentage. Goals against average a little bit higher, but he also does have 8 more wins than we do. And he also has about 400 more saves than we do. So we're really going to have to see like how that plays out for us. So the Chicago Blackhawks are the Stanley Cup champions. Let's see what happened in the playoffs. What happened to Buffalo? They did so well in the regular season. Surely they made it past the first round, right? They made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Final where they lost to the Islanders in 6. And the Islanders gave the champions a little run for their money, taking it to 7. But Chicago gets the win. Duke had 10 wins in the playoffs, 4 losses, 1 overtime loss, and 1 shutout. So he had a 932, which is the best I'm seeing here, except for Malikov. He had a 934. And then a goals against average. Malikov, look at you go with the Islanders. He was the better goaltender. It seemed like it was a battle of the tendies in that series, and he came out on top. The Vezina does, in fact, go to Wallstead, and so does the Jennings. I feel like for the Vezina, we kind of got robbed. Not going to lie. If we had played as many games as Wallstead did, who knows? Maybe we'd be getting it. Nonetheless, we miss out on that award once again. And here we are in another offseason, yet to win a Stanley Cup. We have 3 years left on our deal with Buffalo. What's going to happen in those 3 years? We'll have to keep watching to find out. And here I thought Connor McDavid was retired. Here he is on our retired list. And over 2,000 points, 2,167 points. Kinnan was 3 points shy of 2,000 on the career. That's got to sting. Nylander had 1,600 and change. Kaprizov had 1,200 and change. Larkin too, 1,200 and change. And Tkachuk, yeah, this is quite the retiree class. A lot of players over 1,000 points, 810 goals, and 1,357 assists. Great career all around for him. So here's one of those you take the good with the bad moments. Wanvig has gone back up to a 90, and also Paille has gone up from a 78 to an 83. However, Pugh has dropped in overall. He was an 87 and he's an 85 now. Our fourth line is just a bunch of 74 overalls, which isn't super great, so we hope they don't get played too much. On defense, we still got Power and Dahlin kicking around. They're both Power actually has got 2 years left. Dahlin only has the 1 year left. He's regressed all the way down to an 84 now. To be honest, I was hoping to see a little bit more progression out of these two guys down here. Mikola's still an 81. Yager is still an 83. I was, again, just trying to hopefully see some progression from them. Coco, awesome last name, by the way. He's gone up a little bit, and Brindamore, he's stayed the same. So hopefully this D-core can progress a little bit this year. Even if it's just by 1 or 2 overalls, that'd be nice because we're going to be losing Dahlin next year unless he signs an extension. He's 36, so he still could play for probably another 3 years or so. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he ends up doing. Power, he's a couple of years younger and he's only got 2 years left, so he may re-sign for a year or 2, but we're going to be losing these two guys in the next couple of years. Duke is 99 overall still, and look at this backup we got. Absolute stud, 90 overall. So we may be sharing the wealth a little bit with him this year. Looking at our deal, we still got 3 years left on our contract. But let's see how Buffalo does this season. Can we replicate that conference clinching position, or will we not even make the playoffs? Honestly, with this team, I have no idea, but we will find out. So Buffalo has made the playoffs once again, and this year they're playing against the Montreal Canadiens. And a little fun thing I'd like to note: for the first time in our 12 seasons as GM of the Seattle Kraken, they made the playoffs, and nothing that I did to get them there, because what have I done for them? Well, the answer is nothing. I have not done a single trade. I have not done a single free agency signing. I have let the computer completely do that for them, and but here they are. They've made it to the playoffs. Ottinger, still kicking around, 38 years old, getting 41 wins in a season. You absolutely love to see that for him. Guys, where's Duke? I don't see him anywhere. Oh, there he is. 31 wins this season. So a little bit of an off season. Still had 50% win percentage, but definitely an off season for him. 4 shutouts, 914 save percentage, 275 goals against average. Those are going to bring his averages down a little bit, unfortunately. 1,700 saves on the season, 415 wins through 12 seasons. So he's definitely averaging 30 wins a season, which is pretty solid for a career, not gonna lie. 49 shutouts, 1 shy of 50, a 919 save percentage, and a 264 goals against average. So those numbers have kind of slipped up a little bit, or up and down a little bit. We're at 22,000 saves, 22,200 and change saves. You love to see that. And we didn't get any assists this season. Shoot, that's too bad. It's not looking likely for an award this year. So let's see how the playoffs pan out for us here. So the Chicago Blackhawks have won the Stanley Cup again, and I have some sad news for Buffalo Sabres fans. Chicago beat you. They beat us. Oh, that stings. The first time in our career going to the Stanley Cup final, and we lost in 6. What a shame. So we beat Montreal 4-2, then beat Detroit 4-2, then beat Pittsburgh 4-2, and then, that's ironic, we lost 4-2. So that's really, really sad. Really sad. Seattle went all the way to the conference final, but could not win. That would have been really funny, actually, if it was Seattle versus Buffalo. Firstly, Bedsy. He did it. He got 32 points in 22 games. And Wanvig was a runner-up for the Conn Smythe. Benson was up there too. Oh, looks like Chicago has Robert Thomas as well. So kudos to the Blackhawks for winning. Duke, 13 wins. The only reason why Chicago's goalie didn't have as many wins as us is because they didn't play as many games. But look at that, 13-5-5, 1 shutout, a 937, a 206, and it just was not quite enough. Despite those being amazing stats, was not quite enough to win the Stanley Cup. But we got a taste for it. We got a taste for it, and I know the boys are going to want more. So who is going to fill Dahlin's shoes? That's the big question. Who are we going to find to fill those shoes and help out on the back end? Because surely it wasn't our offense that was winning those hockey games. It was our defense. It had to have been. But let's see. Before we jump over to next season, I forgot to take a look at the awards for this year. So Bedard gets the Art Ross, the Hart. The Norris goes to Brant Clark. Lady Byng to Steinberg. And Conn Smythe goes to Bedard. And Henrik did, in fact, get the Vezina, and so did Topper. Let's see what Buffalo does this offseason. So again, nothing to really note on the offensive front. We're still rocking this core 4 here, but on the back end, who have we got to replace Dahlin? And it's none other than Novikov. All these other guys were here last year, so he's the only addition to our defensive core 24 team list of no trades. He's got eight teams that could take him, and if we get a draft pick out of it, then why not? It all depends on where we are. So let's go find out where we end up. So the Buffalo Sabres have once again made the playoffs, playing against Boston in the first round. Winner of that takes on Montreal versus Carolina. And so I think Montreal won the division, let alone the conference, I do believe. No, Columbus won the conference at 102. Then it was Montreal, and then we came in third at 94 points. If we're looking at the entire league, the Calgary Flames took home the President's Trophy this year. For our first time in our career, Duke down in the 20s, 29 wins this season. He's still a 99 overall, but maybe it's just the team in front of him. Maybe it was not having Dahlin there too. Anyway, he only won 29 games this season, lost 20. Yeah, 3 shutouts, a 918 and a 257. Again, I don't think that's enough. You gotta win more games than that. Wallsted's 100% gonna get those trophies again. Hands down, that's gonna go to him. So the Calgary Flames are the Stanley Cup champions, and got some more sad news. It was against Buffalo. Once again, Buffalo makes it to the finals. They 1-7 against Boston, swept Carolina, beat the Capitals in 6 and lost in 7 to Calgary. That is sad. That is one step closer. And for the second year in a row, Buffalo made it to the finals and has nothing to show for it. Duke just was missing that one win. If we look at the stats, he actually was the better goalie throughout the playoffs versus Calgary's goalie, but just wasn't quite enough to seal the deal and get the win. He had 2 shutouts in the playoffs, and that's just really unfortunate. Stood on his head, but unfortunately they lost in game 7 of the finals. Ooh, that hurts.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
So Parekh gets the Norris. He must be really good then. Bouchard is still kicking around. He gets the Lady Byng. Conn Smythe goes to Luchenko, and the Vezina goes to Wallstead. And the Jennings does in fact go to Chicago's goalie. No other trophies added to the collection. So, Duke, he's got 1 year left on his deal. What's Buffalo going to do to make the most of it? In 13 seasons, Duke has 444 wins and 52 shutouts. He's looking at .919 and a .263, just a little bit shy of 24,000 saves. And got 2 assists that last season, I do believe. Got 3 assists that last season. So he's got 29 assists, almost in the 30-point club. When I saw this, my eyes lit up like a Christmas tree. We had Nick Suzuki. And then I took a look at his overall. A 78 overall. He now has AHL top 6 forward potential, and he's 39. I'm assuming he's here on a 1-year deal. Okay, he signed a 2-year deal. We also had Ridley Gregg join the squad. He's an 82 overall, also on a 2-year deal. We lost one of our core 4, and unfortunately it was our highest scorer of the core 4, which was Ponikarovsky. So I don't know where he ended up going, but unfortunately it wasn't back here with us. And so we are in a little bit of a pickle.
I turned myself into a pickle, Morty! Boom! Big reveal, I'm a pickle!
If we look defensively, Owen Power did in fact sign with us again on a 2-year deal, which was kind of nice. However, he's down to an 85 overall. So Duke has 1 year left of his contract here. However, I do see that other year sneaking up there, so it looks like they may have signed him for a 1-year extension. It's looking like we got 2 years left with Buffalo. We're 32 years old, so we're getting up there in age a little bit. I'm really hoping that he plays until he's 40, because if we want to get 700 wins, we're going to need all the years that we can get out of him, as well as, I highly doubt we're getting 100 shutouts. You never know. Crazier things have happened. Let's be honest. I'm trying to get to the 100-point club, so we need as many years left as we can get. If we can get another good 6 years out of Duke, I'd be pretty happy with that. Okay, another season in the books, and let's see, did Buffalo make the playoffs this year? Cha-ching, they did. However, it looks like they got a wild card spot because they're playing against the New York Islanders, so they must have just scraped in. Let's take a look at the standings. Okay, so Buffalo was 4th, I guess. Though they were 4th, they were still in a wild card spot because the top 3 teams from the Atlantic did so well. So the Metro just must be a pretty weak division. Yeah, so we're playing against the Islanders, who clinched their division when we ended up getting 1 point more than them. So if we were in the Metro, we would have been division leaders. Then if you look at the goalies for this year, Brendan Foligno, whoever you are, good job. You got wins. Let's see. This is Savage, who was on our team a few years ago. He's got 35 wins. We have 34 wins out of 61 starts. So we're back in the 30s, which is nice. We have a 922 and a 243. So the Los Angeles Kings are the Stanley Cup champions this year. I'm wondering where we ended up. We got clean swept 4-0, and that's sad. That's really sad, to be honest. That was our last year potentially with oh no, we signed that 1-year extension, so we still have 1 more year. That hurts. Carter George gets his first Stanley Cup. And if we go all the way down here to the 0 column, you'll find Duke, who lost 3 games and 1 in overtime to make 4. Ooh, that's brutal. .873 save percentage and a 3.75 goals against average. Guys, I play better than that as Titus Wilkins, let alone a 99 overall goalie. Oh, that's bad. Shout out Titus Wilkins. If you haven't watched my series yet, or my season of Be a Pro Goalie, make sure you check that out. I'll add the playlist in our little after video thing. And yeah, it's a great series. There's a lot of ups and many downs, but we do well. We have fun. And the Vezina did in fact go to Tapper. And then yeah, Montreal, those 2 goals take away a Jennings trophy from us as well. So here we are, absolutely just stolen from again. Oh well, life goes on. All right, so Wanvig is still in the 90s overall, so that's a good sign. Benson is starting to drop down a little bit. He's 34. He's getting a little bit older. Suzuki's dropped down to a 75, but somehow is still on an NHL roster. And Heineman, I think this is a good addition. Even though he's 37, 80 overall is pretty good. Let's see. He's signed a 2-year deal. I think that's a pretty good signing. Pinto as well, 38. That's a pretty decent signing. So I think this squad should be good enough to make the playoffs again. Owen Power has dropped significantly since last year. He's dropped 5 overall and is at 80 overall now. So we got a top new pairing. B. Van Allen. I don't know who this guy is or where he came from, but he signed a 6-year deal with us, and he's only 27 and an 86 overall. So we'll watch out for him and his progression as well. So again, we made the playoffs. I am shocked, to be honest. I did not think that this team would be able to make the playoffs, but here we are. And not only did we make the playoffs, but we kind of did well this season too. In our division, that may be shocking to you. I know it's shocking to me. And if we look at the Eastern Conference, we were first. And if we look at the entire league, we were first. What?
Okay.
I don't know how this happened, but here we are. And if we look at goals against, we were not first. So the Anaheim Ducks get it. So once again, we didn't quite have enough. We were 3 goals shy of allowing our goalies to have a chance at the Jennings. You know, considering the fact that we were first, our goalies, I'm pretty sure we did a little bit of a tandem this year. We only played 55 games, so that means our backup also only played, so he played 30 games. He had 21 wins. We only had 29 wins this year. Again, back down in the 20s. Can't be dropping down like that if we want to pass Brodeur's record and get 700 wins. We had 2 shutouts this season, had a 916 and a 262, and despite those being pretty decent numbers, I just do not think that was enough, especially when you got a guy like Nobles here who's got a 921 and a 241. So I'm thinking he's gonna get it. If not, Tapper might get it just because of the goals against average, the save percentage, but you never really know. The Chicago Blackhawks are the Stanley Cup champions once again. I feel like I say that once every 3 years or so. They just have been pretty great. But how far did Buffalo make it in the playoffs? Did they get out of the first round? Oh, look at that. They made it all the way to the Cup final again after winning 7 against Boston, then 7 against the Leafs, and sweeping Carolina. They lose 4-2 against the Blackhawks. You know, they almost beat the President's Trophy curse of being eliminated from the playoffs, but they couldn't quite do it, and they lost again. That's the 3rd time now that Buffalo has gone to the finals and has lost. Benson led the league in points. Jokela, despite not making it to the finals, also was up there in points. Wanvig on our team also up there in points. Almost replicated those numbers. Had a better save percentage, but did not have a better goals against average, despite the fact that those are basically the exact same numbers. Just couldn't quite squeak out those wins in that last series. And once again, I mean, still a great stat line, 13 wins in 23 games, but it's not enough. And we're 34. We're still a 99 overall, but no extension has been signed. So we are going to see what our future looks like. Hopefully it's not a retirement in this offseason, but we're going to have to find out here. And the Vezina did go to Tapper for the second year in a row, and so did the Jennings. I'm not seeing a retired Duke yet, so we are not done. Ottinger, however, hangs up the skates. Good for him, 674 wins. He certainly got up there, but he did not pass Brodeur. And again, no one is even getting close to the shutout totals that those guys had in the 90s. Spencer Knight, also a guy who robbed us of a few trophies, retires with 463 wins. I think that's where we're sitting roughly right now. He had 47 shutouts, so good on him. Did Duke re-sign with Buffalo? He did not. So now I get the fun job of trying to figure out where he went. So we're looking at the Dallas Stars and Duke, a 96 overall. I'm really hoping that goes back up to 99. But Dallas, that is the team that we're rocking with. We signed a 2-year deal, so we'll be 36 when we're done there. And I really hope, again, that that's not the end of it for us. I hope that we play until we're at least 38 or 40. But let's check out what Dallas's lines are looking like. Okay, so this guy here, Ryan Rubrick, he looks to be our best player offensively at an 87 overall. He's not on the top line, though. This is a pretty old team, except Bonino's 24. Okay, maybe not as old as I thought, actually. I don't know if I like it, but I think I like Buffalo squad a little bit more. Buffalo had a little bit more on the defensive end as well. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that shapes out. Goalies, too. It's nice. I did kind of get my wish in the fact that we're on a team where the backup's not very good, so we should be getting probably like a solid 70 starts a year, hopefully. Ottinger just retired, so they're like, you know what, we'll take the second best and we'll get Duke. Okay, let's see how we do with Dallas. This is an interesting development. What a plot twist. I honestly thought that he would sign with Buffalo again. So I guess, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes and what happens. So on the playoff tree, we do not see the Dallas Stars there. We do see the Buffalo Sabres, though, and they're playing against the Montreal Canadiens. I swear, if Buffalo wins the Stanley Cup this year, I will be slightly annoyed. But not only did Dallas not make the playoffs, they did pretty poorly. Where are they, you may ask? Well, they're all the way down at the bottom of the conference here with 67 points. Nice. 82 games, 67, 28, and 43 was their record. Did they let in the least amount of goals? My guess is probably not. They may have let in the most amount of goals in the conference, the third most amount of goals in the conference. Well, that's sad. Duke, why did you only get 13 wins this season? Only 36 games played? Was there an injury? There had to have been, right? 96 overall still. 13 wins. He had to have been injured. That's my guess. Because the other goalie for Dallas... Okay, wait, let's see. It was just Wong and Duke who were playing. It's too bad there isn't a third goalie here, because that would make me think that they were playing that third goalie. But it looks like Wong got the starting position. Either that or they just went with the one goalie, which I don't think you can do. So maybe it's just an unfortunate circumstance. I mean, we are 34, but that's no excuse in my opinion. Well, the St. Louis Blues have done it for the first time since 2019. Won the Stanley Cup in 2041. Vezina goes to St. Louis goalie. So does the Jennings. Let's see what additions they add to the Dallas Stars, and hopefully we can at least make the playoffs this next year. Our Stanley Cup window is getting much, much, much smaller. So a little update heading into our final season. We have played 16 seasons. We've played 16 seasons in the NHL now. We are 13 games shy of 1,000, and we have 520 wins. I was really hoping to get up to 700, but at this rate, we're going to need another 180, so we're going to need another 6 seasons of 30 wins. We're 35, so unless we can crank 5 seasons of 40 wins out, I don't think we will be doing that. Aw, that's sad. We will have to see, though. You never know. The unexpected can still happen. Yikes is all I can say. Yeah, wow. This is a exceptionally rough team. Your first line centerman, 79 overall. Love to see it. Like, our highest player is an 84 and an 83, and then a bunch of 81s and 79s. Oh my goodness. Even defensively, they're like, where's all of our cap space? Could we not, like, how much are these people making? How much is this guy making? 9? Why is he making $9 million? How much am I making? 17? Wow. I think our last 1-year extension in Buffalo, I think we went for 7 mil, I think I saw, if I remember correctly. Wow. I see why Ottinger retired. He's like, future here? Yeah, no way. I'm expecting a last place finish. Like, fully, I'm expecting a last place finish, and hopefully we can sign with a whole new team. You know, it baffles me that Duke's agent and him were, you know, talking about, oh, we want to win a Stanley Cup. We haven't done that yet. We've been to the finals for the last 3 years in a row with Buffalo. What are we going to do now? Oh, let's sign with a good contending team. And they signed with Dallas, who finishes last in the West. I wouldn't be shocked if they finished last in the entire league, because that is just an absolute abysmal record. 59 points. I'm just still baffled by that. Like, we were 41 points away from a playoff spot. Are you kidding me? They better get the first round pick this year, or the first overall pick this year. Go over to our goalies. Duke played 54 games, and despite playing 54 games, only had 17 wins. I mean, it's hard to get wins when your team can't put the puck in the net. Still a good save percentage. Just the goals against is also up there. It's... I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is how it's ending. It looks like he's injured. That little circle sign with a line through it indicates injury. I'm assuming at the end of the season that happened. If we check out our career stats, okay, we do have 1,000 games played now. It'd be nice to get up to 600 wins. If we could do that, if we could sign a 3-year deal, then we'd be done at 38. That'd be awesome. So the Florida Panthers are the Stanley Cup champions. Vezina goes to Washington's goalie. So does the Jennings. So Dallas doesn't even get the first overall pick. Ottawa jumps them and Montreal jumps them. And so Dallas gets pick number 3. So looking at Dallas's lines for this upcoming year, once again, I am just fingers crossed, hoping that I do not sign with them. The highest overall that I've seen here is an 83. Nope, 82. 82 is the highest. So this team is not doing anything anytime soon. But did we sign an extension? We did not. So thank goodness. Oh, thank you. Okay, so let's see. Where did we end up? Okay. All right, so Florida just won the Cup this past year, and we just signed with them, and we're back up to a 90 overall. So let's see, what's our squad looking like? So this is the guy who won the Conn Smythe. This isn't really looking like a playoff team. I thought Seth Jones was still playing for a second. Sean Jones is in. I mean, they got a lot of depth guys, but it doesn't really look like a playoff team unless a lot of their guys retired last year. I'm not crazy, right? Did Florida win the Cup last year? Yeah, Florida won the Cup last year. Okay, well, hey, let's try to make it back to back. We're a 90 overall, so let's see what we can do. So the deal that we signed with them is only a 1-year deal, so this may be a do or die situation. If we don't win, we're 36 right now, we'll be 37. So if we don't win, we may be retiring. So I'm hoping we get a lot of starts this year. We've played 17 seasons now in the NHL, right? 16, 17. Yeah, so we played 17 seasons in the NHL, 1,041 games, 537 wins, 59 shutouts, 918, 266, We're about 200 saves away from our 30,000 goal. That's amazing. I didn't think we'd actually get that many, but when you play for long enough, you love to see it. 33 assists. So let's try to get that up to 35 this year. I think that's a good goal. But yeah, let's see. What do we do? What does Tyson Duke do this year with the Florida Panthers? So if we look to the playoff tree, the Panthers are nowhere to be found. Unfortunately, this squad could not replicate the Stanley Cup they won last year. Sadness all around. They missed a playoff spot by quite a bit, actually. Only 78 points. Bruins made it with 86. That shows you the gap here, shows you how weak the Atlantic Division was in comparison to the Metro. New York Islanders had 91 points but couldn't get a playoff spot because the Bruins were the third Atlantic team to make it. But Florida, what happened? Go from Stanley Cup champions to the bums of the East. I really couldn't tell you. Leading goal scorer was Zubov with 25 goals, 31 assists for 56 points. Looking at how Duke did this year, he played 66 games, so he finally got those games played up. He had 27 wins, couldn't quite get 30. That's all right, given the team that he had. Would have been nice if the backup gave him a little bit more help, but hey, this is where we are at right now. He's an 86 now, so he dropped from an 89 to an 86 this year. So we're starting to slide quite a bit, Our speed is down to an 88. I think that's one of our lowest attributes. Stick high. If you want to score on him, shoot stick high. Yeah, had a little bit of a regress in our stats. We got 1,107 games, 564 wins. We had only one shutout this season, so we got that up to 60. We finally got above 30,000 saves, so that's pretty impressive there. So we passed Martin Brodeur for saves. Pretty neat and pretty special, I guess. But that was our 1 year of our 1 year deal. Well, I guess we have to send him through the playoffs first, but I'm very curious to see if this is it for Duke or not. And just like that, the Colorado Avalanche have won in the Stanley Cup again, and let's see who they played in the finals. The Leafs. Look at that. Leafs make it to the finals, but do not win. Colorado beats the Kraken actually in the Western Conference final to beat the Leafs in the Stanley Cup final and secure the win. Let's take a look at the awards for the season. David Bowie gets the... is that who that is? Gets the Vezina. McLennan gets the Jennings, and yeah, so once again, no more trophies, no more Stanley Cups. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the year that we hang up the skates, but you never know. Florida gets the 9th pick overall. Columbus jumps from 9th to 1st. That is mighty unfortunate. Rangers actually 14th to 4th. That's probably an even bigger upgrade. And look whose name I do not see in the retired goalies section. Duke is not found there. So I'm assuming he wants another year. He wants another shot. And we're going to see who he signs with this offseason. Okay, so this is what Florida's lines are looking like heading into this season. Again, not super exceptional. That's a pretty stellar name. Johnny Champion. 25, 78 overall. But yeah, on defense too, nothing that extraordinary. But let's see, did we re-sign with them? We did. Interesting. Okay, so we're an 84 overall, and we did in fact re-sign with them just 1 year. Yeah, just 1 year. But we took a pretty significant pay cut, so with all that cap space, I'm hoping that they're able to make some moves at the deadline maybe or what. But we're an 84 overall. Maybe it's just one last go. Maybe last year was just an off year for the boys, but let's see what we can do this year. Well, the Florida Panthers did not do it this year and did not make the playoffs. And you know who did though? Dallas. Dallas is there. Should we have stuck with them? Watch those young guys develop? Who knows? Florida 79 points, and to get into the playoffs we needed 95. So we were like 16 points out. That's pretty far out if you ask me. Buffalo regressed quite a bit too, but yeah, that's pretty sad. Henrik Sundqvist. Triple consonant. No goalies in the 40 win column this year. Kirk Hoffman gets 38, so does Ranta and Henrik. But if we go down here, let's see how many. This guy won the Vezina last year. Danny Bowie. He won it last year. How many wins does Duke get this season? A whopping 19. Only 43 starts. That's kind of sad. He's still an 84. He had a 9.11 save percentage and a 2.89 goals against average. Over the past few years, we have just let that slip. He is 17 wins shy of 600. I just hope that he gets one more season just solely so that he can get 600 wins. 1,150 games, 62 shutouts, a 9.18 and a 2.68, 33,000 saves, and no assists that season. Sadness. So 34 assists on the career. He's 37 now. He's going to be 38 by the start of the next season. Will he sign with another team? There's no extension that's come his way. He's an 84 overall, so he could still get minutes. He may be a backup next season, who knows? But it's really the downhill fall has really hit hard, and it is sad to say the least. But let's see, can the Kraken win the cup? I think that'd be kind of fun. The Columbus Blue Jackets are the Stanley Cup champions this year. Kraken actually ended up losing the first round to Dallas, who went all the way to the cup final to lose in 7. I bet you Dallas wished they had a pretty good goalie with them. Henrik gets the Conn Smythe and Danny Bowie gets the Jennings. No more names that we even recognize in the slightest. We've hit that point of our career where it's just a bunch of no-namers that the AI or the computer has made for us. So that's 19 seasons. I'm very curious to see what happens because in the last video we made, Reginald Foster, he only did 19 seasons. But let's see, does Tyson Duke get a 20th season in the NHL? I sure hope so. It's always nice to end things in round numbers. They're saying he's a backup goalie now. He's dropped to 82 since the start of the playoffs. So I don't know. Maybe we're going to have to find out here. And again, I don't see Duke's name on this list. He wants one more. He wants one more. And honestly, I back his decision 100%. He needs to end his career with 600 wins. That's my opinion. So let's hope that he gets on a team that allows him to have as many starts as he needs to get that. And yeah, fingers crossed here. So once again, Florida's lines aren't looking spectacular. However, this is the first year where they've had more players in the 80s and the 70s in a while. So that's great news for us. As far as defense goes, not super great once again. But did Duke re-sign? He did. However, it looks like he's in a backup role to McCullough. So he's a 28-year-old. We are a 38-year-old. So, I mean, honestly, makes sense. But let's hope that he gets enough starts this year to get those 13 wins. Was it 13 or was it 17? Let's hope that he gets enough starts to get those 17 wins. In the last 5 or 4 seasons, getting up to 17 wins has been a little bit of a challenge, except for this season with Florida. Let's hope that he can keep that overall up into the 80s, because if not, I don't know if he's going to get 600 wins this season. I forgot to even look how long his deal was for. I'm assuming it's another just 1-year deal. What's his deal looking like? It's a 2-year deal. Oh, we've seen this before. Sign a 2-year deal and then retire at the end of your first year of that deal. I hope not. I think it'd be awesome if he played until he was 40. That's a sign of a great career, but we're going to have to find out. So the Panthers did not make the playoffs once again. However, that wasn't really where our concerns laid. I didn't think we were going to make the playoffs. I'm mostly concerned as to how many wins the Panthers get. So that way we got 25 wins. And so I'm wondering how many of those wins came at the hand of Duke. I am going to guess probably 10. Wow. Am I good or am I good? That was a very good guess. In 40 games played, we had the opportunity was there. We ran a tandem goaltending situation, but 10, 19, and 5. We were 904, 308. We added another 1,000 saves under our belt. Man, oh man. So that puts us then We're still an 80 overall, which is good. But that puts us at a career high of, or not career high, a career total of 593 wins. So we are 7 wins shy of 600. And I am fingers crossed hoping that we do not retire in the middle of our contract and we play it through so that way we can hopefully get those 7 wins next year. So Celebrini finally hangs up the skates. I honestly already thought he was retired. Aginla also is there with him. But yeah, Stenberg, who led the way for St. Louis for so many years, he hangs up the skates as well. But the one we're all waiting to see is Duke's name here, and it's not. I'm shocked. I totally thought that he was going to do what Reginald Foster did and hang up the skates after his contract, or in the middle of his contract. But no, Duke says, nuh-uh, I am in this to win this. And honestly, Florida might as well just do a cup run just for him, right? Even though we've basically have come in last the last like 4 years that we've been with Florida, or 3 years. It's fine, right? They can do it for him, right? He'll go on a tear. He'll have 40 wins. It'll be great. The crowds will cheer his name. Someone pinch me. I think I'm dreaming. So Florida, once again, nothing outstanding. Probably won't make the playoffs. Villette's an 84, which is nice. I think that's one of the highest overalls we've had in a couple of years, which is kind of sad to say. Defense also isn't super outstanding. The real question I have is whether or not we made the final squad or if we're going to be sent down to the AHL this year. And the sad reality of the situation is we signed this Blomqvist guy. I'm wondering if we got sent down. And I think we did. And I don't really know how to... If I go here, maybe we're in the depths of the AHL, and who even is Florida's team? I feel like I'll see it once I'll recognize it once I see it. Oh, maybe not. Guys, who's Florida's team? Help. Is it bad that I don't know this? Am I casual because I don't know who Florida's farm team is? The Charlotte Checkers. I totally thought that was Carolina's team. Who's Carolina's team then? The Chicago Wolves? That's wild. There he is, 78 overall. Well, isn't this a bummer? He's 7 wins away, and they won't start him. They don't have a playoff team. There's no way they're making the playoffs this year. I'd almost rather him retire as an NHLer than to be dropped down to the A. This is heartbreaking. Well, hopefully he gets called up. You never hope that a goalie gets injured, but if one of those 2 goalies got injured, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But again, you never wish that upon anybody, but yeah, maybe I'll leave that out. Want to hear something that'll make you laugh? The Panthers made the playoffs after 3 seasons of abysmal records and poor playing. They all of a sudden just decided, oh yeah, we'll just come 5th in the conference. Now, the real question is, we got a lot of wins as a team, but did Duke get called up? That's my real question. Because if he did, then that's great, because then maybe he got a couple of those wins. But he did not, in fact, get called up. He got 11 wins in the AHL with the Charlotte Checkers. Some pretty rough stats all around the board. So that's pretty sad. He's a minor starting goalie backup now. How the mighty have fallen. This was the last year of his deal. I doubt he's going to sign again. He'll probably hang up the skates. Remember, he's a 2-time Vezina Trophy winner and Jennings Trophy winner. No Stanley Cups to the name at all. But if we look at his career stats and his NHL totals, look at that. Even though he got those 11 wins with the Charlotte Checkers, those don't add to his NHL totals, and he will likely retire 7 wins shy of 600. That is sad. Who knows? Maybe he'll sign with another team and they just have abysmal goaltending and he could be a backup for them. If Florida wins the cup, oh my goodness, that would be funny. That'd be really funny. Well, Florida did in fact not win the Stanley Cup, and the Colorado Avalanche are the Stanley Cup champions. So let's take a look at what happened to Florida in those playoffs. They lost in 4 in the Eastern Conference Final to the New York Islanders, who got swept by Colorado in the finals. So a lot of sweeps going around. The Syracuse Crunch won the playoffs here. Did Charlotte make the playoffs here? Doesn't look like it. They didn't make it. Well, Never mind then. There it is. He has officially hung up the skates after 1,190 games, 593 wins, 62 shutouts, a .917 save percentage, and a .269 goals against average. Not to mention 34 assists. Tyson Duke has hung up the skates and retired. Let's see if we find his name in some record books. Goalie games played, we were shy of 1,200, so we didn't necessarily hop in this list here. If we're looking at wins by a goalie, 4th all-time wins by a goalie. And if we're talking wins by a goalie in terms of modern day stats, that's 2nd overall. 98 wins shy of Broder's record. So if we're looking at goalie stats as well, for modern day numbers, Marc-Andre Fleury, when we're talking about most goalie games played, Marc-Andre Fleury only had 1,051 games played, so we beat that. We had 1,190, so we are 2nd in all-time games played. We are 2nd in all-time wins. Marc-Andre Fleury only had 575, as we see there. As far as shutouts go, we had 62 shutouts, which puts us pretty far back on the list. 62 shutouts puts us in 19th above Turk Broda, and 2 shutouts actually behind Jonathan Quick. And then if we're talking about saves in a career, Broder was first with 28,000 saves, and we retired with 34,000 saves. So that's an all-around pretty great career, if you ask me. And just for the fun of it, if we're talking best save percentage, so we'll go minimum 600 games played, just because that's about half of what we got. The best save percentage is .922, and we ended with a .917, I do believe. Well, best save percentage over 600 games is .922 by Dominic Hasek, and we are right in that conversation. Roberto Luongo at a .919, Lundqvist with a .918, Pekka Rinne a .917, Carey Price .917, so we're in pretty good company. Goals against average, we had a .269, if I do recall, and so that would put us roughly in 24th in the company of Jose Theodore, Mike Smith, Varlamov, Ryan Miller, Marc-Andre Fleury. So we are in pretty good company. Overall, that's a pretty stellar career. Well, guys, we may not have won a Stanley Cup, and we may have only had 2 Vezina trophies, but all in all, stats-wise, that was a pretty good career. We were 2nd in all-time wins, 2nd in all-time games played, 1st in all-time saves, rocking the top 5 in all-time save percentage. So that's a pretty good career, if you ask me. I totally thought that a 99 overall goalie would have absolutely cleaned up in the awards category. I thought that that kind of goalie would be able to carry teams to multiple Stanley Cups. I don't know if it's just luck of the draw on the teams that we got on or what, but we made it to the Stanley Cup finals 4 times, I believe, in our career, and we lost each of those times. So we could have, won the Stanley Cup 4 times realistically. I guess this is a game that values offense, so I think for the next video, I'm going to try and make a center at a 99 overall. We've done a defense, we've done a goalie, and so now all that's left is center, or forward, I guess. The forwards that get the most points, they're the centers. So I'm going to do a center, and we're going to see how it goes. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, make sure that you share this video with a friend who would like it, and subscribe, turn on those post notifications. It's absolutely free, no charge. I'm feeling very generous today. We'll see you at the next video. Peace.